Hey everybody, Catherine here. I had intended to shoot a video today on the food that I take for a multiple day backpacking trip. However, in light of the current events and as the days seem to be getting stranger and stranger, I decided to shift gears. The topic that I want to discuss today is how we as outdoor enthusiasts, hikers, backpackers, and even RV'ers might have a little leg up in terms of being prepared for crisis. This is something that I've often thought about, being from earthquake country in Southern California, where we can expect the big one anytime. As a backpacker, I have a lot of gear that can sustain me in the event of an emergency for days and maybe even weeks. And now that I am living full-time on the road, I'm set up to live off-grid. Several ways that I feel that as backpackers, outdoor enthusiasts are more prepared to deal with the current situation with the coronavirus are, for instance, social distancing. It is recommended that we socially distance ourselves and not gather in groups of more than 10. Backpacking is a fairly solitary sport. We either go in very small groups, maybe 1, 2, 3 at a time, or oftentimes we go solo. We find ourselves being in nature and in locations with little to no people, and even in the RV life, I find myself to be alone often. Also out on BLM lands where I have wide areas of open land around me. Living this current lifestyle, I have been practicing social distancing without even knowing that there was a term for it. It is odd, however, when it is something that becomes sort of mandatory. Even though I put myself out here in the world of YouTube, I do consider myself to be somewhat of an introvert, and hence I enjoy the lifestyle of backpacking, RVing full-time. And it's not something that I really have to make an adjustment to. I do know that there are people, though, that are definitely having to adjust to this temporary new way of life. As backpackers, we've accumulated gear that helps us survive in the outdoors. For instance, we have water filters. As you might have noticed, the grocery stores have a lack of water. The water shelves are empty. I don't really get that because most people do have tap water. It's a little bit different situation for me living on the road. I don't have access to tap water. My water resources are very limited. However, I do have water filtration systems because of my backpacking. So that will help me in a pinch if I need to access water from a lake or from an unclean source. Also food. I don't know about you other backpackers, but I tend to have extra food on stock, especially now that I've been on the road and don't always have access to places that I can purchase food. I do tend to stock up when I see it. So I do have dehydrated meals on stock, at least enough that can get me by for probably a couple of weeks. I think we generally have things on hand that keep for long periods of time, such as trail mixes, bars, beef jerkies, dehydrated meats, dehydrated cheeses. I know that my pantry is stocked with those sorts of items. Those are things that probably the general public just doesn't have on hand. We also have shelter in the event of an emergency and gear to keep us warm if the temperatures should dip into freezing. For me personally, living in this rig, I'm set up to live off grid. I do have solar panels on the roof. I have an inverter, and I could potentially be out for a week or two, depending on if I have enough water and food at a time, without any other resources. It's finding the food, the water, and of course the toilet paper right now that could be the challenge. But as we are hearing and being told, there is no food shortage. There is a lot of panic going on and people stocking up. So hopefully things will calm down on that front and the stores will be able to restock with the items that we all need. With all that being said, this has affected me negatively in some ways. In fact, I'm currently at a city campground where I was told upon checking in, I have this place booked for 4 nights to wait out a storm. Unfortunately, the location that I'm at right now does not have any free public lands camping. So I went ahead and booked this place 4 nights in advance online. I was told upon checking in that they may cancel my reservation. They may just shut this place down and boot me out. There has been some weather in the area and I have not wanted to drive over passes where there could potentially be snow. So I was hoping to hunker down here until just a few more days to let this storm pass and drive more safely. I might get kicked out and just have to get out of here. So that could be something that will affect me. So with state parks closing, city parks closing, national parks could be next. This could put people who live on the road full time in an interesting predicament. We will definitely have to be finding public lands to stay on in the interim. My plan for the immediate future is to get out to some public lands as soon as is safely possible and just to hunker down for a week or two. I do have some upcoming backpacking plans that this current situation might affect. I might have to make a plan B or C. We'll have to see how that all plays out. Just one day at a time, that is what I'll do for the immediate future. I do plan to continue to upload videos during all of this, and I will bring you with me as all of this unfolds and as we all learn how to adjust to living through this crisis. And I will make that backpacking food video at some point here down the road. Also, I'd love to hear how this is affecting you for upcoming trips, plans for backpacking, plans for spending time outdoors. We've got spring coming up, summer coming up. How is this affecting you? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Strange times, guys. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime, but we will get through this one day at a time. Be kind, look out for one another. If people are in need, see if you can help them in some way. Let's look out for our elderly, and we're gonna get through this. I will see you on the next one, everybody. Bye-bye.